Hello everybody, it's Elena, and in today's video we are building this pretty big family house in the world of Copperdale in The Sims 4, obviously. So I built this on a 30 by 30 lot, and with the way that I decorated it, it fits a total of 5 Sims, and this is a 4-bedroom and 3-bathroom house. And as you probably can see, I built like a big house and then a smaller house on this lot in a way, but the two are connected by the roof, and it's sort of just like a main house and then a little annex on the side of the main house, I suppose. And originally, like before I started doing the floor plan or anything like that, I was kind of imagining that I would be able to fit at least 4 bedrooms into the main house, but probably like 5 or something. I wanted it to be a big house and I wanted it to fit a lot of Sims, so I definitely wanted to have a lot of bedrooms in there. But with the way that I thought the floor plan would work the best, I only ended up being able to fit 3 Sims into the main house. But I really wanted to have at least 4 bedrooms in this house, so I ended up turning the annex into like another bedroom, so that's where the 4th bedroom is located. But originally I wanted the annex to just like have a hobby slash hangout room of some sorts. Like I guess I just wanted to have maybe a ping pong table there and some skill items, maybe some workout equipment, stuff like that. I just wanted it to be like a fun room. But then I ended up turning it into a bedroom just because I wanted this house to have room for more than just 4 people, because I was really wanting to build a bigger house, if that makes any sense at all. I hope it does. But yeah, also in the annex you've got a little like a laundry room and a full bathroom, so it's pretty nice. And turning the annex into another bedroom sort of made me think of a little story for the Sims that live in this house. So in my head there are obviously 5 people living here, as I said, and 2 of them are like grown adults and they are the parents, and then there is a like maybe a teenager who's in their late teens or like in their early 20s or something like that. Like they are a young adult-ish sort of thing. And then there are 2 pretty young kids, so I made room for a kid-sized Sim, and then a toddler. And I was thinking that one of the parents that live in the house right here was married before, or maybe just like had a baby out of wedlock or something. But yeah, they had a baby from like a previous partner, and they had that baby a long time ago, and then they like found the person that they are with now and got married to them and started a whole family with them. But then they also had that other kid from their previous partner, so now that kid is like a young adult, like late teens, something like that. And they also live in this house with the rest of the family, but there's like a pretty big age gap between that old kid and then the younger kids, because I was sort of imagining that those kids are like maybe 8 and 4 or something, so they're not like super far apart in age, but the other kid is maybe like 19, 20, 21, something like that. So there's a big age difference between the 8-year-old and the 4-year-old and then the late teen, early 20s person. But they are all siblings, and I feel like this family is just one big happy family, and they just love to live in this house, I suppose. I don't really know, but I feel like it's probably really nice for the older kid to have their own little like sort of house, or just like a room that's far away from the other people in this house, because like they are a lot older than the other siblings, so they were an only child for many years, and then like suddenly more kids just came into their lives. So I feel like it's probably a little bit stressful for them to have to be around them all the time, so it's probably really nice for them to be able to have their own little space away from the rest of the family. I think they probably appreciate that a lot. I know I would if I was like in this situation. But yeah, anyway, so above the garage I put a little playroom sort of thing, which I thought was really fun, and I just wanted to have a little room right there above the garage. And I put like 2 young kids in this house. Obviously it was like a kid and a toddler, and I did put a ladder going up to the playroom, so the toddler cannot use it right now as they are just a toddler and toddlers can't use ladders. But once they turn into a kid they can also play in the playroom, but right now it is only for the kid-sized Sim. That's the only person who really can do anything up there, because I just put like some stuffed animals. And I also, so one thing I really wanted to use in this build was that like puppet show object that we got from the kids room stuff pack a few years ago, or like many years ago. That came out a long time ago, that pack. But yeah, I've never really used it. I think I've maybe used it like once or something, and it was a long time ago that I used the little puppet show thing. So I wanted to use it in this house in the playroom, and that's like basically why I put a playroom. I suppose if I hadn't thought of the idea to put a playroom, I probably would have just put nothing in the little room above the garage, but I just felt like that was a good idea for a family house like this one. And since they have young kids, that's probably really fun for them to have their own little room that they can play in, and probably nice for the parents because that way they don't have to have like a lot of toys around the living room and whatnot, so they can keep it nice and tidy around the house. You know, that was my logic. But yeah, right now it's just really like kid-sized sim because they are the only one that can use it, so they probably like that they have it all to themselves, but they won't have it all to themselves for very long because the toddler is gonna age up eventually. But I really wanted to put an infant in this house, so I was kind of sad that we don't have the infants yet because I'm really excited for the update, and I was really thinking that I wanted to have one in this house, but obviously I couldn't do that because we have not gotten the update yet. But it is less than 2 weeks away now. It's like a week and a half away, so that's exciting. I'm very excited and just ecstatic about the new update and the new pack that we're getting. I hope that both of those things are going to be very good, and I hope that they won't be too buggy and glitchy, but I am expecting that they will probably have some bugs and glitches because that's just how it is when we get new releases and whatnot. And obviously the infant update is huge, so it's probably gonna have some issues. We can't really expect anything but that, I suppose. But yeah, it's really exciting in my opinion, and I'm just, yeah, I don't know, I can't wait for the little baby infants. And I've decided that I won't build any more family houses before we get the update and the new pack, because I felt a little bit silly doing this big, very like family oriented house right now, like right before we get the new pack that is like all about families. I felt like that was a little bit silly and stupid, and I probably should have just waited, but I didn't. So here we are with a very family focused house. So I don't know, I had fun building it though, and I think it turned out pretty cute. But originally what I wanted to do with this house, like what I wanted to achieve with it, is that I wanted to have like an all brick house, like a red brick house, because I've never built a house in The Sims that I liked, at least, that was like just a brick house that didn't have any like tree siding or just different siding anywhere. And I've really been wanting to do that for a long time because I feel like that's a thing I see a lot when I just go around, you know, my neighborhood and go outside. I suppose I feel like I see a lot of just brick houses. My voice is being really annoying right now, but yeah, I see a lot of just brick houses that don't have anything else going on, and I feel like it's just super realistic. So I wanted to do something like that in The Sims, and I did also try it out earlier in the speed build. I don't know if you saw that or if you remember, but I did try it out for like a brief moment, but then I decided that I hated it, so I switched it up a little bit. I really wanted to do just a brick house, but I really did not like it. I think it's just not really a thing that works in The Sims. Like there are a lot of things that work really well on houses in real life, but then when you try to put them into The Sims, it's just like weird, and there's just something off and odd about them, I suppose. And I feel like all brick houses are one of those things, and it's just, I don't know, I did not like the vibes of it, and I definitely don't think that I could pull it off, but I'm sure that a lot of other simmers probably can pull them off. I could not, and I was really like bothered by the way that it was looking, and I wasn't happy with it, so I decided to change it up. And I don't know, I put like some other siding. I definitely did play around with the color scheme on the outside of this house quite a bit, but then ultimately I've decided to use some blue siding also, and I kind of feel a little bit sad about my decision to do that because I recently did a house with like a very similar color scheme, and I feel like it's just such a basic color scheme, like red and blue. Yeah, I don't know, it's just not very interesting at all, but that is what I ended up with, so it's okay. But I mean, it's a classic for a reason, like it looks good, you know, but I don't know, it's not like my favorite color scheme, and I'm a little bit sad that it's so basic, but it's fine, it's okay. Anyway, as I did say, I made the room above the garage a playroom, and I was super excited about that because it sort of reminded me of my childhood, because a friend of mine had a playroom in her house growing up, and it was just so much fun to have like an entire room just dedicated to playing, because like obviously we had her bedroom and stuff, and like in my house we also like had my bedroom to play in, but like in their house they had an entire room just dedicated to toys toys, and you could just play as much as you wanted and mess it up as much as you wanted. Like, no one was gonna come tell you to tidy it up because it was a room made purely for playing, you know. It was so much fun, and I feel like it's just perfect for a house like this because it just shows that it's a very family focused home, I suppose, because I feel like a room like the one above the garage in real life would probably just be turned into like a storage room of some sorts, because it's not really a room that has much of a purpose. And like, what would you do with it in real life if you didn't put a playroom or something? I don't really know. I can't really think of anything, so it would probably just end up being turned into some storage room with a lot of old crap and such. Like, that's just where you would store all of the things that you don't want to have in your house but you don't want to get rid of, I suppose. But yeah, they turned it into a playhouse in this house because they just wanted the kids to have a designated play space in this home, which I think is so cute and so fun, and it just reminded me of my childhood, and it was cute. I liked it. But I don't really love the way that I decorated it because, I don't know, I thought it was kind of hard to decorate since it's kind of like small. It's pretty narrow and not very long either, and it was a little bit difficult to fit all of the things that I wanted into it. And also there's like that weird lighting glitch going on in it because it's not technically a closed off room, because there's a ladder going downstairs to the garage, and the garage is not a closed off room, so there's like that blue lighting thingy going on in it, which was kind of annoying, and it just made it look a lot uglier than it actually was, in my opinion. So yeah, that bothered me. But anyway, so we also did put a backyard in this house, of course, and it's pretty big, and I didn't really know what to do with it because I feel like backyards are just pretty difficult to decorate, and I just don't really enjoy it that much, to be honest. Like, it's not my favorite thing to do at all, and I find it very difficult to figure out how to lay out my backyards. So I really did struggle with this one, and I don't really love it in the end. But I just ended up putting a pool because that's like my go-to thing to fill up a lot of space in the backyard, because it does take up quite a lot of space, and then I don't have to put a lot of other stuff, I guess. It's easy, you know, it's very easy that way. So I put a pool, and then I also like had a pretty big, or well, big-ish green area with a swing set and just like some play items, and then just like a hangout area with some gravel, I think, under it. So yeah, anyway, that's the backyard. It's not super interesting, but it's there, and you can hang out in it if you want to. But I guess that's all I really have to say about the build for now. I feel like I have been talking about it for a long time. Yeah, longer than I normally do. I don't know. But yeah, I do have something I want to say. I'm kind of like in the mood to gossip today. So I want to tell you a story about my like super annoying and super weird neighbors. So luckily for me, these people are not my next door neighbors, and I'm really, really happy about that, because if they were, they would be like a nightmare to live next to. But like, as it is now that they don't live exactly like right next to me, they only bother my other neighbors. But I want to tell you some stories about what they do and how weird and like just cruel they are to some of my neighbors. Like, they're just so mean and so annoying and horrible people. I don't like them. And when I say that they're cruel, it's not because they like murder people and are horrible in that way by any means. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But they're just like more so casually cruel. That might be like a better way to describe them. But they just like find these more so weak people in the neighborhood, and then they prey on them and like try to wear them down as much as they can, and they just bother them because they're so bored. And these people are like a couple in their late or mid 60s or something like that, and to my knowledge they don't really have any kids, and they are probably retired by now. So like, their only pastime is probably just to wear their neighbors down and to bother them and be super petty, you know. So that's fun. Gotta love that, right? So one of their next door neighbors is this single woman who just lives in the house by herself with her 2 young kids, and she's like kind of friends with my family, so she like talks to my parents when they do annoying stuff and when there are like things to talk about, you know. You know, neighborhood gossip, right? So we live in like row houses, townhouses sort of things. So like, we share a wall with our next door neighbors, and we also share a hedge with the next door neighbor. Like, our backyards are sort of connected in that way. And last year, for some reason, these people wanted to cut their next door neighbors like hedge down a lot. So our hedges are normally like around 2 meters tall or something, or maybe like 180 centimeters, which is, you know, around 6 feet for the record. And so they're like pretty tall, and normally you can't really like look into the other people's backyards because, you know, you want to have privacy in your own backyard. That makes a lot of sense, right? But for some reason last year, these people, they cut down their next door neighbors like hedge, the one that is between their two houses, down to like 1 meter tall. And that's just so, like, why would you do that? That's such a weird thing to do. And she was so upset about that, like, you know, understandably so, because they didn't ask her. So she just like came home one day, and then she saw that her hedge was like half the height that it was when she left that morning. So that was just so weird, and she was so mad about it. And then she talked to my parents about it, and like, I don't understand why she did it, like, or they did it. And I've talked about it with my parents a lot because we just think it's really, really funny and like so stupid that they did that. So we've been trying to figure out why on earth they would do that. And we were kind of like thinking at first that it was because they were not getting as much sun into their backyard and their house as they would if that hedge was shorter. But it was like on the opposite side of that, like the sun does not shine on that side at all. Like it doesn't affect them in any way that that hedge was a little bit like taller. Like it doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they would cut that hedge. It does not make any sense. Whichever way that I look at it, I cannot make it, you know, make sense in any way. I don't understand why they did it. And she was just really upset about it because like that obviously has taken a long time to like grow back, and I don't think it even like has grown back now because it's only been around a year, and you know, it's a hedge, like it takes a long time to grow back. So yeah, she was very, very upset about that, rightfully so. And that's like just the sort of stuff that they do on the regular, and for some reason they just like have a problem with these hedges. I don't really understand what the problem is, but they don't like them at all, and they just feel the need to change them up. And they also did it one other time. So their other next door neighbor, like on the other side, that is an old woman in her mid 70s, and she is also our next door neighbor. So like she lives in between my house and these mean people's house, if that makes sense. I hope I'm doing like a pretty okay job of explaining it so you guys understand what I mean, but I don't really know because like I know what it looks like, but not everyone else does, you know? So yeah, anyway, I hope you get what I mean. But yeah, she lives in between my house and their house, and for the past like few years she's been really sick, and she has had some like respiratory problems and whatnot. So she's just not really been doing her best, and she hasn't really like been very active, and she hasn't really had a lot of energy to really take care of the outside of her house, which is, you know, understandable. Like she's been sick, that's okay. So I think last summer she probably didn't cut her hedge down to the proper length or height that it's supposed to be, but like that's okay because, you know, she's been sick, and that's just how it is sometimes. Sometimes you just can't cut the hedge, and like, okay, whatever, life goes on, right? It's not a big deal. But these people have been very, very upset about her, and they've been nagging her like ever since last summer to cut it down. And then I think like maybe a few months ago, they, like these old mean people, they asked my dad if he like wouldn't talk to her about it, because my parents and her are like sort of friends, because we're a little bit closer with her than they are with her, because they've got beef, you know, like they've got a long history of just not being friends, right? But yeah, so they asked my dad if he could talk to her about it and like make her cut the hedge down, because it was bothering them that the hedge was just a little bit overgrown. And then obviously he said no, because like she's sick and she's fighting for her life. Like it's not really a big concern for her to cut the hedge down a little bit. Like it does not matter at all. And I think they had like been on her ass about that for a long time, and she just like does not get along with them, so she hasn't really like been wanting to, you know, give in to them and just accept their stupid, you know, BS and whatnot. And also I work for her. I work as a cleaner, so I clean her house frequently, and I also cat sit for her when she's out of town. And then a few weeks ago she went for like a trip for about a week, and then I was cat sitting that week. And then one morning when I went into their or her house, I think think it was the first or second morning that I was cat sitting this time around, and I looked at the window and I saw that these freaking people were cutting her hedge down, and I was like, oh my god, because I knew that they had had this whole beef about her hedge for many a months, and I knew that she had not like told them that they could do that. So I was like, that is insane. Like, why are they literally like standing there on a ladder cutting her hedge down and just not respecting her wishes and whatnot? Like, that's so weird. And these people, they just decided that they would take matters into their own hands and they would cut the hedge down themselves, I guess. And then when I was done cat sitting that morning, I went and told my mom about it, and then we took a picture of them and sent it to my dad because we wanted him to see it because we're petty and whatnot, and it was just funny. And I don't know, we like to gossip about them, I guess. It's funny, okay? And a few days before the old woman, she left for her trip, my dad had like talked to her about just like some practical stuff, and I knew that she had been telling him a lot about like how annoying they had been about the whole hedge thing and just like how much they had been bothering her in general. And then like I knew that she had not agreed to let them like cut the hedge down because she did not want that, right? And then there they were, the second that she went on vacation, they took out their big ladder and they got their hedge cutter and then they cut her hedge down. And I feel like they probably just planned this like days in advance because they knew that she was going on vacation. So they were like, yep, that morning on the, you know, something of February, where can I go and cut her damn hedge, because we cannot stand that it's a few inches above the height that it's supposed to be. That is just absolutely unacceptable. That's how they were feeling about it probably, and I just feel like that's so insanely petty, but like petty in the bad way, you know? Yeah, not in the way that I'm petty, definitely not. I'm petty in the good way, you know? Yeah, definitely. And for a few years, this old lady, she was in a relationship with this man who like very frequently came over to the house, and then he parked his car outside of the house. And in order to like park the car outside of her house, he had to like drive out in front of their house on this little patch of grass. So I guess that may be a problem that they had with, you know, him going onto that grass patch, is that he kind of would ruin the patch, but like he had to drive onto it in order to park in front of the house. But they were like very, very upset about that. So they would like leave little passive aggressive notes in his windshield and be like, yeah, please don't park here anymore because it's really, really annoying and it really bothers us that you are ruining the grass patch outside of our house. And like this little patch of grass is not even on their lot at all, like it's on the other side of the sidewalk, so it's not even their property that he was sort of messing with, and it's like not a big deal because he was just sort of like messing up the grass patch a little tiny bit. It's no big deal at all. But then now she's in a relationship with this other man, and I think that he recently moved into the house, so she doesn't live there all by herself now, but you know, she lives with this other guy, and he also parks his car outside of the house. And then now they've literally like put this huge ass rock on the grass patch so that he can't drive onto it to like park his car in front of the house. So they got so upset about it that they had to move this really, really big rock onto the grass patch. And I don't know how they did that because they are like old people. How did they move this really, really big rock onto it? I don't know, but it's extremely petty and just so immature of them. And I don't understand why it's a problem for them that a man who literally lives here now parks his car outside of the house. I have a lot of stories that I can tell you about these people because they're just like super strange and super stupid, and also I like to gossip, so I probably will tell you some more stories about them. I have told a little bit about them in the past, but yeah, it's been a long time. And I also have a lot of stories that I can tell you about the old lady, because even though she was the victim in this story, she's been annoying as hell, man. And also, as I said, I do work for her, and I've been like on the verge of quitting so many times these past few months because I've just been very, very upset with the way that she has been acting, and just, I don't know, I've just been very, very upset with like things that have gone on. So I can tell you some stories about that because that's been bothering me a lot, and I do like to gossip about my neighbors. My mouth feels very, very dry now because I've been talking a lot for a very long time now, so yeah, I think it's very good that this video is coming to an end. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you aren't subscribed already and you enjoy my content. I would really, really appreciate it, but you know, you don't have to. But besides all of that, I hope you're having an amazing, amazing day, and then I cannot wait to see you all in my next video that I will be posting in just a few days. So bye everybody.